We're back, people. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back in the building, man. Hope everybody is blessed this evening. Guys, don't even act like there is any football to watch this evening. I saw Man City versus Watford and Chelsea versus fucking Barrow, and Leicester got like Walsall or Wickham or whoever it is. Couldn't really care less. So this is where you guys need to be. So big up everybody in the building. Big up everybody inside. We're finally back. I know this is my fault. This is on me. This is all on me. Endz has blatantly asked me several times, G, when are we bringing back the show? When are we bringing back the show? So we're back with both sides of the coin. You guys already know what it's about. Tactical analysis, game overview, where we just pick a random game, whatever game we're kind of, feeling or whatever. Of course, there was a big game this weekend. Man City versus Arsenal. I couldn't do this by myself. Alongside Endz, I've also got Tariq. Endz, firstly, I'll head on over to you. How you doing, my bro?
Good, man. Rested, bro, after the show we did earlier. Time to go again, man. You already know what time it is. It's good to see Tariq as well, man. You know what I mean? Always have to check in on the homies, bro.
Big up my bro in and big up G. Thanks for the invite, and it's a pleasure, man. There's been a lot of talk about, I think, the nonsense side of the game, the little bit of the fluff that I like to call it, but we're about to dive into the real stuff, the actual football on the pitches, which is the reason why we watch the game. Let's be honest, people, because of the football on the pitch. And yeah, we're going to get into it. There's plenty to talk about, as of course, and yeah, game, both sides of the coin. Hey, I'll give you another phrase: game of two halves, wasn't it? Really, man. So yeah,
hey. We'll get into it. And there we go, man. And there we go. Big up Satan in the building, my bro. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well as well, by the way, man. Hope you're blessed. Savage, I send you the link, my bro. So if you are free, make sure you hop in. If you're in the gym, do your thing. Let's head on straight over to the game, man. Let's just talk about it. Let's just get into it. Tariq, I want to get your thoughts kind of first. Obviously, it's your team, so why not? Chat to us, man. Just in a general overview, but obviously before we get into like the tactical side of it. How was the game? How, like, coming into the game, all of that stuff, man. Like, chat to us. We ain't heard from you.
Yeah, so going into the game, we're going to talk about, first thing was, what's the starting lineup going to be? We kind of know the main parts of the team in terms of the spine and who was going to be available. We do have a few players missing, but that's more to do with the bit of the squad depth, and we're kind of pushing a few players to the limit here physically. At the moment, of course, they're all in different physical conditions because of the summer and lack of preseason and whatnot, but seeing Yuri and Timber move to right back and Ricardo Calafiori is actually something that I wanted before this game, before even the Atalanta one. I put a tweet about it saying I wanted to see Ben White kind of moved out because I don't think he's performed quite well, and we didn't quite know the context behind it. But of course, it came out just before the game, probably about half an hour or so, is that he actually is carrying a knee injury, and it's something that he always does in Ben White, and we always kind of push him to the limit. But right now, we do have good enough squad depth to be able to come in. But I think tactically, this is what I wanted for anyway. Yuri and Timber being moved out to the right and Calafiori coming in. Main reason being is I wanted more of that balance. We kind of lacked a little bit of the balance out on the left side in particular. If you have a look at the left side, we've got Calafiori and then the left centre midfielder, Rice, Martinelli, all right-footed, and then we lack that because whereas on the right we actually have that and be able to have a bit more width. Yuri and Timber's not been as comfortable inverting, and that's not because of ability. I think it's because he's still trying to find his rhythm after the big ACL injury, and we all know how long it does take to recover from an ACL injury. But I thought another thing, apart from the balance that this will give, moving him to the right where he's more comfortable, but what Calafiori and Timber are both able to do, they're both comfortable receiving in that inverted position. You know, Liverpool fans, what you see with Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that gives us that unpredictability, that variety. We can invert from both sides. They're very flexible and versatile. They can defend out wide. They can provide an overlap. They can come inside, and that's what. And me as well, I wanted the 1v1 duel as the battle, and I like what I've seen from Calafiori. Very aggressive. We've only seen a little bit of him in an Arsenal shirt, but even in Italy, in the clips of Bologna, very front-footed defender, aggressive, tight to his marker, wins his duels well. Same with Timber, very strong and aggressive. We'll talk about how that actually played out in the game, but going into it, that's how I felt. And just as a quick overview, and how I
Yeah,
feel about the result, brother. If you'd have told me before 90 minutes before the game started, would you take a 2-2 draw? Absolutely, at the Etihad. Remember that whole debate we had on your channel, Endz, with the Man City fan, and I was saying there's no problem with taking a draw at the Etihad, not at all. That's why I always carry that energy, especially at this point in the season. So then to take a 2-2 draw, if he was going to ask me at half time down to 10 men, I wouldn't have believed you. I'd have said, no, that's impossible, given how Man City are, the game state situation, and going into it, how Arsenal playing 3 games away from home, short turnaround, players dropping down, cramp, all this, that, the other. So yeah, man, happy, not gutted in the end how we lost in the last kick of the game, little bit of
literally.
disappointed there because it was about to be a monumental victory, a historic one. It could be, but that's going to be obviously decided by the end of the season. But yeah, 2-2 draw, move on. Yeah, we've still got plenty more of the season to go.
Hey, that's a good assessment. I can't even lie. That's a good assessment of the game, man. And I'll come to you, yeah. So obviously we're Liverpool fans, right?
Yeah.
And we obviously see that game. We won our game now, so we were not really worried in terms of, okay, cool. If we slip up, whatever, cool. We've done our thing. You come to see this kind of game. Obviously, we all know it's Man City, Liverpool, and Arsenal this season. I think those are the 3 teams we can all agree on. Probably top 3 places. Where? I don't know, but just top 3 places this season, right? When you saw, obviously, the result, it ending, obviously, 2-2. In terms of significance, now I know it's only 5 games, so maybe you might look at it from that angle. But one, do you think it was a significant kind of result for Liverpool, for City, for Arsenal? Or do you kind of look at it and think there's way too much football to be played in order for this to have that level of significance?
I think it's a bit of both, to be fair, bro. I think, yes, it is early to kind of go, all right, this makes sense. And if whoever wins this is going to win the title. And I know that's how they kind of promote it on TV, and the fans and both sides of fans are like, yeah, if we win it, we're going to, get the upper hand. Still plenty of football to be played, man. But the result is what we need, especially if you've got an inkling of where you think your team's going to finish. Liverpool, i.e., can we get the extra points than what we did last season? Maybe win the title. We just have to wait and see. I think we have a good chance of doing so. But these are the games you need both teams to drop points. We didn't need Man City winning it. We also didn't need Arsenal winning it, because they both win it. If Man City win it, they go further away from us. If Arsenal win it, they go a couple of points away. We'd rather just keep it and keep this as long as we can stay within the pack. So the 2-2, in my mind, I needed a draw, wanted a draw, whether it was going to be 2-2 or not. That obviously that's what it came out to be. But I just wanted these two to kind of take points off of each other now, and when they meet again, take points off of each other, because they play these two when they meet. They just play this tactical game because Arsenal don't want to lose. So they set up with a bit more rigid. I think they attacked a bit more than what I saw them last year. But City just play the exact same way, and they want to play against teams that want to play against them. Not everyone's going to do it. So I get the frustration from their side when they're like, nah, you man didn't want to come and play. And blah. Yeah, that's just a part and parcel of the game, innit? No one's going to play into your hands, especially we know how good you are with the ball and how much you can hurt teams going forward. So I think it's a good point for Man City because they were losing the game. I think Arsenal will kick themselves because they're like, I know they were down to 10, but they had it, man. It's just one more clearance, bro. Just one more clearance. And that's 3 massive points with 10 men away at the Etihad. And they could have just came away top of the table, taking points off the rivals. And it wouldn't have mean nothing, but it would have been that little psychological thing where they go, we're going to have to beat them the next game, because they can't be beating us again. And that's what it means. It's too early to go, that's a decider on the title. But for us as the neutrals watching it, man, and being a Liverpool fan, I'm just like, yeah, man, it's good, man. We're just sitting second now. But Arsenal got a point or two behind us. Man City a point or two above us. So we're just sitting in the right little position, waiting for another slip-up round, and we can pounce and end up at the top. But a good game, man.
Listen, I agree. Listen, I agree, man. We definitely was waiting for a slip-up. But I guess a draw, in retrospect, it is a good result, right? Because, and again, it's only game week 5, people. And I think what Endz said there as well, like, I haven't really heard that. And again, I know Tariq again, level-headed. So I know he doesn't blow these kind of things out of proportion. Pause. But even what you're saying there, like I feel like so many people, and again, rival fans, and I get it, tribalism and all of that kind of stuff. But the way that people kind of spoke about this game. Now, listen, I don't have Liverpool winning the league, but I'd be stupid to at least say, bro, like you couldn't just like all you focused on was Man City and Arsenal, so much so that it was like there is no Liverpool. Like Liverpool are not even here. Like don't worry about them.
Way, G. I like it this way. I
hear
like it that no one thinks we have an opportunity. And also, like, they're not even caring about it. If you listen to all the pundits recently, it's you know, they're doing amazing Arsenal and it's Man City and Arsenal season. Then you hear them go, we don't expect Liverpool to do well. And it's surprising that they've settled in this well now. But there's no like, oh, they're doing well. Even though, I read out the stats earlier when we did the stream, Virgil has been the best centre back in the league so far this season. No one cares. No one's even speaking about it. They're spending the time speaking about partnerships in Arsenal, Man Cities, and how well they're doing and whatever. Meanwhile, we're just collecting clean sheets and winning games of football, and no one cares, bro. And I love it that way. Keep it that way as long as possible. While everyone else battles and they're fighting, we just keep sneaking these little wins. And then, but when it goes after Christmas, everyone's like, hold on a minute. Wait, why is Liverpool here? That's when it's going to be an issue. But I like it at the moment, man.
Nah, man. Listen, I agree, man. I'm good with just chilling, man. I'm just good with chilling.
Yeah.
Obviously, listen, look, Mikel Arteta, and again, this is Tariq would have to tell us, like, obviously he's been here for a hot set now. You know what I mean? He's picked up that FA Cup in that meantime, but you would say that was probably more Emery's team than his own actual team, right? You've progressed so far in terms of obviously from where he first came in to now. We can all say yes, they have progressed as a football team. The last 2 seasons, you guys have now been in title races. So with everyone's taking you seriously, as that kind of team. How do you, and not even necessarily like your prediction for the season, so to speak, but just more, how are you looking at Arsenal in terms of whatever your expectations are? If he doesn't meet them, is there a question at the end of the season, or is it just go again kind of thing?
Yeah, there is, because I spoke about this on Deluded Goonish channel yesterday, and it's more to do with that. I think this Arsenal team is definitely good enough now to win a league. Definitely. It's a question of mentality in certain aspects, and for what I've seen in the opening 5 games, like I think we can all agree, Arsenal have had the hardest opening fixtures, all the tough ones being away from home, Spurs away, Villa away, and Man City away in the opening 5. And what we've seen in that is Arsenal show a real mental step, even from last season. Arteta spoke about this in the very beginning of the summer in Mallorca, when he was out in Mallorca in an interview, saying, and the quotes were, "I want us to win our games at our worst." Villa game, a great example. We played Villa 3 times in like the past 12 months, 12 to 18 months. And that was our worst performance against Aston Villa, yet we won 2-0. And yes, they had their chances. We rolled our luck a little bit, but David Raya having a big improvement in our goal, showing that, he's taken a big step, because we know what he can do with the ball at his feet. There's not many, I don't think there is any better goalkeeper in the league at claiming crosses. That's statistically proven in terms of what he does, and that relieves so much pressure. But what we didn't see last season was when he was called upon, there wasn't the saves. If you want to, if Arsenal are going to have a keeper that's going to be thrown into Alisson levels, what Alisson does is make big saves, do the unthinkable. That's what David Raya didn't show at Arsenal. He showed all the ability in terms of tactically with the ball at his feet and that, but now he's making crucial saves where you're going, wow, that are keeping us in these games and keeping it tight, and Arsenal aren't losing their head. And then even in the Man City game, Arsenal, our away record in the Premier League has been, in 2024 has been outstanding. But the one thing you'll say is that Arsenal haven't shown. The last time we went 1-0 down was Aston Villa, and we didn't score and we didn't get back in the game. Then the time before that, where we went 1-0 down, was Newcastle, and we didn't score, we didn't get back in the game. Same thing when we played you, man, in the FA Cup. as soon as you scored to make it 1-0, it kind of felt, oh, it's over, because we kind of went through our best period and we didn't score, and we had the chances to do so. And whereas Arsenal now, it's like, okay, we've gone to the toughest place in the world at the moment, in Manchester, in the Etihad, with the best record in the league and one of the best in Europe. Haven't lost there for 2 years. Went behind, fast start, and they've come back and they've got and shown it. So that mentality that has been shown now is quality's there. Mentality is shown to be there. It's just about sustaining it now to the end of the season. Arteta's had a lot of power, a lot of control, a lot of decisions that he's made in transfers, sales, and whatnot, and building this squad. Now, I believe I'm not questioning. I'm not saying we have to see it with a. I'm waiting to see. No, I believe we can do it, and I've seen all the signs that to do it, that to take that next step. Whether it's to win a league, well, yeah, it could be that, but to win a major trophy, and I'm talking being competitive in the league at the very least. We took it to the final day last season. I'm talking the same again this year at the very, very least at that. So yeah, that's what we need to do, and we've shown it, and that's big, and we can move on from this. And now the question is with Arsenal, we've got a great record against the big 6 teams. We haven't lost in how long now against the big 6? But where did we drop points last season? It wasn't against the big 6. It was the games that we were expected to win. 1 point against Fulham out of 6, losing 2-0 to West Ham in a game that was really a must-eat, a should be winning. Those types of fixtures, and those are the types of fixtures we got coming up now. So definitely, yeah.
No, listen, I'm just laughing because I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, you haven't actually lost in the big 6 game, but also as well as you're saying there, seriously, like in terms of it is about. Okay, you didn't say this verbatim, but it kind of sounds like to me anyway that it's about time. It is time to collect one of these major trophies, whatever that is. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. It's just about collecting those trophies because. Of course, you can't keep doing all of this work because there will come a period of time when, you just have that kind of, Liverpool had it, where you kind of get to like that top. Obviously, if you don't invest and stuff like that, that will play a part. But you get to the top and now it's kind of like, can the players go again? Can they do another season, of doing the same things that they've been doing? It's difficult, bro. Like I say, it is really only Manchester City who are able to go, let's go again. Let's go again. Let's go again. Let's go again. And obviously that's kind of an anomaly,
And,
in this thing.
And G, to add to that, because you're spot on, Arsenal fans, we talk a lot about our players and how good they are and the levels that they are. I'm sorry if they are as good as what we say they are, and I believe they are, but they're going to want to win trophies. They're not going to settle and not winning trophies. And we'll go again next year. We'll go. They're going to be moving and go in there. Liverpool, the reason why you was able to keep Salah, keep Van Dijk, keep Alisson, and that is because you were winning trophies and you was being there. If you didn't, it might have been different. It might have been a different story, but you did. So there we go. So that's what it is. The reason Man City were able to keep most of their stars because they're winning trophies as well, not just money, because Real Madrid are there knocking. That's what the big thing is. So if we want to keep these players and build around them and to try and stave off the interest from William Saliba from Real Madrid, Arsenal got to win trophies and we got to do it. So yeah, that's why. So it's so important. So and you can't, and that's what you have to question. These guys aren't going to want to hear the same voice without anything to prove, anything to really show for it. It can get training. We know how intense Mikel Arteta is. You see it on the sideline. Arsenal fans know with how much that they are in terms of the little things, when people are laughing about the pickpocketing thing, he's always brains on the goals, trying to keep you mentally wired straight, always going like, be aware, be ready. And guys, that will get tiring if you don't have anything to show for it. So yeah, definitely, G, spot on.
Because it gets to a point as well when it's, you're right. They're just going to be looking at him like, we get all of this, man, and we get that you want us to do X, Y, and Z, but now we actually have nothing to show. And what happens with football, we know, watching a season, how draining it can be, but the years do tick by. They tick by really quickly. And then you've got players in your squad there that 23, 24, and then 3 seasons have passed. Now they're hitting the 27s, and they're like, I ain't really won anything yet, and I'm close to 30 now, and there's another club calling, and there's little agents talking, family members, people around him going, like, I get you love the club, bro, but you want to achieve something before the end of your career. And one of this maybe ain't going to cut it, but we can go here now to the Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, whatever it is in, what you can think of. We can go here now and collect 2 in a row, 3 in a row. We can go and collect these trophies. And that's what I think is more likely to happen than them not liking Arteta or liking the club. It's more they've realized, Man City is a hard team to beat, bro, like across the whole season. And especially when you've got teams like, I'm not saying Chelsea are back, but they've got the money to invest, buy players, and then get there with that. You've got, obviously, Liverpool, we're still around as well, and we're rebuilding our squad. Our squad age has dropped dramatically this season as well. So, these guys are, coming in fresh and hungry as well. And, with the added guys that's already had the success. You've got a hungry manager on top of that as well. And we've got the players that's starting out now. You guys have been on this journey for, let's say, 3 years. I'll minus the first 2. First year wasn't his player. Second year, he started kind of doing his thing. Third year was kind of him molding, putting his players in. Fourth year, we're challenging. Fifth year, we're challenging. But then they're like, bro, we've been here for 4 or 5 years, 3 years now. Can we wait another 2 to 3 years on top of that to win something, or can we go somewhere else? And I think that's where the problem might lie. If you don't pick up an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, I don't know, man. Like, you've got to pick up something along the way to keep them a bit, okay, won this, that's nice. Won this, that's nice. Won this. But without picking nothing up season on season, I think that's when you're going to be like, whoa, I've been here for how long? You ain't won nothing. The money might be good, but everyone knows you want them medals, bro. You want the medals at the end.
If they are winners and we talk about the mentality, they're gonna want to win. And that's it.
No, that's factual. And I think just before we move on to Pep and then take a look at the tactics, I think one of the major things for Liverpool, as much as I might laugh at it, and I know me and Savage was talking about this earlier on, that comment that Pops put up towards the end, and it made me think about this now. You see, even those like little things, as Endz said, an FA Cup, a Carabao, like you see those little things. Obviously, because I want the bigger trophies, I'm more concerned with those. But I can only assume for some players, bro, even just winning those and continuously being competitive every season. So getting to 3 Champions League finals, in the time that Klopp was here, battling with Manchester City, in all the time, it still keeps people going and motivated to go. Because you might not win. Obviously, we've only won 1 title, innit? So clearly it's not because we're winning Premier Leagues. No, it's because, well, bro, we were close twice outside of that 1 title. We've won the Champions League, but we've been to 3 Champions League finals. Like, these things can keep people just ticking over long enough in order for you to keep the Mo Salahs, the Alissons, the Trents, the Virgils, and all of these guys, the Salibas, the Gabriels, the Sakas, the Erdegaards, the Rices, like all of these guys. I feel like if you don't start, and I'll be honest, I really think it's going to be really this season onwards where it needs to start for you guys. That's where this conversation, I think, is going to start heading, where you start saying, as Tariq said, like, bro, you guys really even winners that you're still here. Like, we ain't won nothing and you're still kind of chilling, not really doing too much. Take a look at Pep. Obviously, I saw this diagram and I was busting up because I was like, wow. Endz, when we look at this, and this is more for the clowns out there. This is for the people who tell me that Pep Guardiola apparently ruined football, right? Xavi, Barcelona manager, won La Liga, obviously former Barcelona player. Luis Enrique, former Barcelona player, also won La Liga. Vincent Kompany, current moment in time, he's doing really well with Bayern Munich. They are playing some really good football. They've scored about 20 goals in their last 3 games alone. Fantastic. Yeah. Ten Hag, I don't know why he's there, but he's done something in Holland. And to be fair, he has won
titles.
Yeah. He's won titles. So if we're just looking at it from a trophy base, he's done it. Maresca, obviously, look what he did with Leicester City, last season. And of course, Xabi Alonso, absolutely amazing last season, and etc. etc. When we're looking at all of this, and this is all clearly the disciples of Pep Guardiola, I just need an answer from you, bro. Has he ruined football? Yes or no, bro?
No, but he's, bro. I didn't realize it's so many.
I'm hearing a but though, Endz. I don't know. I'm not.
No, you know why? Yeah, because you know why? Because no one likes boring football, bro. They like the the end-to-end stuff. They don't like the tactical stuff no more. So for some, yes. For me, definitely not, bro. I love it, man. I love it, bro. I love the tactical stuff. But I didn't even realize, and I'm sure there's another one or two that's missing off of this list.
Yeah, there was more, but I think they were like descendants of descendants.
The
like
ones that, yeah,
you're
okay.
like,
No,
like there was a big list.
No, straight answer, no, he hasn't. He hasn't ruined football, man. He's just made it. He's made it a lot more. I don't know, a lot more competitive because you have to be at your best consistently to try and win or beat any team that he's got. Which means that you're going to have to get to that same level and your players are going to have to get up to that same level on a consistent basis. But I just feel it's just the style of how the football's played why people think that he's ruined it. Because no one has their own, they don't have their own kind of identity no more. They don't really have, like, you go, okay, I can see where you're doing this. Our manager, Arne, spoke about it as well, Pep and Klopp, and these are the guys he's looked up to in terms of what they do, and he's doing the whole blend between it. That's where you can see the defensive setup, but you can also see the transitional football. So he's picked off the two managers that he supports. And you can tell by all of these guys, man, that's exactly the defensively they're there. And then the transition stuff is amazing. It's all over this guy, man. Nice. It's been cold, man. He ain't ruined it.
By the way, honestly, I don't agree. I don't think. I think we've looked at this game against Manchester City, and I'll be honest, bro. They have 10 men, bro. Like, I don't know what anybody was expecting them to do. I don't know what heroics you all wanted to see, but yeah, for me, like, I was calm with that because I said if that was my team, bro, we did it against Spurs. Obviously, we had a little bit more going forward, but bro, we're playing Spurs. They're playing Manchester City.
I think it's based. I think the way they played was because of what the scoreline was. I feel like if he went in at 1-0 and they went down to 10 men, they would have gone, there's nothing for us to lose here. Like, we're already losing. We might as well try and go and get something. But to go, right, we're 2-1 down, and we're down to 10 men. Let's just protect what we got, bro. And if we can nick something, maybe we'll nick it. But we have to protect this. I think about 1-1, they would have done the same. I just think it's based around the result or the scoreline at halftime. But yeah, if they were losing, 100% they would not have sat back. They would have been like, well, we're losing anyway. So what, we just want to keep the scoreline down? So you're losing 3 points regardless for what the scoreline is. You might as well try and go and do something.
No, it's true. That's true, man. No, listen, man, I rate Arteta. All right, looking at the tactics, we'll start off with Man City, seeing as they are, the home team, man.
Yeah.
Endz, man, chat to us, man. Chat to us about.
I'll show you. I'll share this as well. From the Man City standpoint, so I'll show you guys, what happened in terms of the first goal. But from just the way that Arsenal defended, everyone's like, Man City wasted chances. They weren't. No one was making underlaps or overlaps, for allowing players. But Arsenal literally, and forgive me, I haven't put all the players in, but Arsenal literally set up like this. So they went with a back three. Obviously, Gabriel, Saliba, and then Ben White came on, kept Timber, Partey, blah, blah, blah in here. But what they did, they plugged all the little gaps that you could pass ball, like what Man City would like to play these little passes through. They plugged literally everything that they could do. So when you had players like Doku coming in here, imagine trying to try and play passes between these kind of lines, bro. You can't really get through that. You can't really. There's nothing you could do. What you would have to do is drag them into like wide areas to open up spaces in the box. But Arsenal was very clever. They was like, nah, we're gonna sit in our back five or back three, and then anything that goes down the line, we're gonna cover it off. And all you guys are gonna have to do was literally just recycle passes over and over in front of them. And as a defender, as long as you can see the play in front of you, bro, you're in control of the situation. None of the man them was making runs. Haaland was just standing still next to Saliba most of the time, if not standing still next to Gabriel. And then you had like runners before Grealish came on. You had like Doku trying to get down the byline and Gravadol tried to step into these little pockets. But just look at that from just a standpoint here. Where are you meant to pass the football? Where are you meant to? There's no space to operate and get nothing away. And that's why you see a couple of shots from Gravadol was literally off of rebounds and ricochets, and then he was able to kind of get a shot away. There's no space. the playing. So ideally, what they should have tried to do, which what Grealish when he came on, he started dragging people out wide and start making runs here. So what happened was that you have to come across the plug gaps, and then your back line is moving across and shifting. They will leave like Carl Walker and whoever out here wide, waiting for like maybe a switch of play. But until they brought on Grealish, bro, it just looks stagnant, bro. And you can't. It's very difficult to break down a team that's put 5 at the back, and they were defending their 18-yard box. And Arsenal did it really well. And then they had the guys in front, the Rice and the Partey's, just screening and obviously trying to protect what they had and the lead and stuff like that. But yeah, it's always going to be difficult, man. I remember seeing us when we did it against like Newcastle and we did it against Spurs. Obviously, we went down to what 9 men. So we literally was just defending the 18 and just the edge of the 18, and they couldn't pull us apart. And if you're organizing, communicating at all times, there's no way anyone's going to get in. But you can see how congested that is, bro. Everyone's in there, and that's minus in Trossard. Because even if they had Trossard, he would have been back here doing something as well. So it's literally everyone's trying to get in here, and there's no space. And that's why you saw there was moments in the game where it was literally they're passing it side to side to try and shuffle Arsenal. But what Arsenal did well, they kept the backline structure still and just let the guys in front, the screeners, to just shuffle across. So they weren't actually shifting the back line. They were just shifting the guys, the screeners, and they couldn't get through. But obviously, once they got Grealish on, it was different. Yeah,
can I add to that? Because that's brilliant. We brilliantly put Endz. And do you know what? The space when they did go out wide, the space that we afforded was just outside where Diaz is, right there. We did shift all of ours across, and we kind of said, we allow that space there, try and take the shot. We've got bodies in front. And you know what? There's a lot of criticism for Arteta. Oh, he's being cowardice in terms of how he set up, blah, blah, blah. I don't really I don't react to most of that. But my thing is, what the mistake Pep made is, why did you keep your whole back 4 on? In that situation, you saw how Arsenal were playing after 60 minutes. The space that we afforded was Akanji, Diaz, Kovacic. We asked you guys, take the shots. Every time Man City got the ball out wide to try and make a crossing, Arsenal were able to defend their box. That's something that they've done very well. You saw it in the Spurs game. Saliba, Gabriel, every time Spurs put a cross in, was able to clear it. And then when the ball does go out wide, Partey does what he does. He drops into it as well. He drops in between the centre backs, so we completely overload it, and that's where the space is. So yeah, you drop Partey in there, and if the ball is out wide to say Savinho, Rice moves over, and then leaves that gap right in there where Endz is, and where moves Martinelli. Martinelli was almost playing like a 6 as well. So you see where that space is there. That's where the space was. Man City didn't take the shot. They just kept swinging it like a pendulum, leaving Guardiola, Diaz, Akanji, Walker. The reason I was adamant at half time, I was like, that's it. And especially seeing the first 10 minutes of the second half was, it's going to be now he's going to bring Foden on. He's going to take off Akanji or Diaz or Walker, bring on Lewis, who likes to operate in those central zones much more comfortably than a Walker. But it was almost like Pep was so cautious of Arsenal trying to break as well, because Arsenal did kind of let Martinelli go forward a bit, but he ran his socks off. That's why he when he went down, I couldn't believe he stayed on as long as he did. So Pep Guardiola should have taken off one of the centre backs, brought on a Foden, brought on a Lewis, someone who is more comfortable in taking shots from distance, move Gundogan a bit deeper, don't need him where Kovacic is, and then you can throw Vardiol in the box, add some more physicality and height. And then if Gundogan's there, he's a threat outside the box. Sorry. If Phil Foden's there, he's a threat from shooting outside. So, yeah, I did think that Pep Guardiola did make that mistake in that sense, and leaving Jack Grealish on till late, because they, on that right-hand side where Timber was and on Man City's left, nothing came from there. It was all from Savio. That was the problem. That's why Martinelli operated as a wing back as well. We had a back 6 because Savio was the one that was causing Calafiori issues each time. Even in the first half, when we get to 11 men, when we talk about that, but that's where the problem area was. The Doku one, he needed to come off a lot sooner, and they should have. Even when Grealish was on, operate down that side more, because what is Endz perfectly put right there in him going to the byline, drops our centre backs deeper, moves Havertz out there, Partey drops in, forwards the space even there even more, and then commentator said take a shot because it could take a deflection. We saw a couple of them and they went out for corners, and from our point, our view was like, is that going to go in? No. But that's what Man City didn't do. There was a little bit cautious themselves in terms of the counter attack, and that's why they didn't want to take many shots and left their back four on.
But they could have just left. They could have left Kyle Walker back with like just Diaz or Akanji. They could have whatever way they wanted to do and just leave these guys back, and then just push the other guys forward, man. Because these two got decent bit of speed. Obviously, we know Kyle Walker's quick, and even if Martinelli, went on a break, Kyle Walker has the speed to keep with him. And then it's up. Are you going to see these guys make long busting runs that they've been shifted side to side, and they're going to have the legs to really? So they're not going to really come and help him out. They might end up there. He might have to hold it and maybe win a free kick, but he's not going to run it up here and then expect all of these guys to start bombing up. It's not going to happen. So I think he should have been a bit more braver in terms of the substitution, maybe early in the first half, and then slightly change it. But Arsenal did not move the back. The back line, they just slowly shifted because Haaland wasn't trying to get in behind someone or try and run across them. He was literally just moving with them as they moved. And unless you're going to play a killer pass into feet and hold it, they're not going to. And a lot of times when they did, that's when like Gabriel Saliba would step in and then they would win it. And then someone would just put their foot on it and clear it upfield and just clear it out. And then they reset and then go again. But no, it was difficult. I want to show you guys the first goal. Though. Let me remove that one. Bear with me. First goal. Let's go here. Bear with me.
Big up, guys, man. Please make sure you are smashing the like button. Cheers. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So I'll show you guys this one. So I kind of tried to remake that first goal and try to highlight something that I found was key in terms of what happened. Hold on, let's move it here. Where are we? Animate it. Let's play it.
Oh, you got the animation as well. I'm still trying to learn how to do the animation.
So, on the first one, Kyle Walker plays a ball into Savinho. I think Calafiori tried to get too tight too early. And obviously he's learning it. He's new to the Premier League. But it's the Bernardo Silva run. That's the one for me. As soon as he makes this run and takes Partey into the space here, so let me bring it back. I'll bring the guys' names up so you can see. As soon as he Savinho makes that cuts in, and then Bernardo Silva makes that run and takes Partey out the game, that's where the space comes. And then Haaland can then make that forward run into that space, and then he just finds him. Simple pass. And then that was it. That little run there killed Arsenal. That unselfish run. And they always say about making unselfish runs for your teammates and blah, blah, blah. That's what an unselfish run looks like, bro. When he goes, the ball ain't for me. As soon as he cuts in, he's showing here because maybe he just wants, Kyle Walker's going to pop it into his feet. He's going to just pop it off to Silva. But then Silva goes, right, he's turned him, so that means he's looking to carry it. So all I'm going to do now is take him into the space he's vacated in terms of where Calafiori is now left. And he's gone, right, I'm going to attack that space. Because Partey has to travel. If he doesn't travel with him, Silva gets the ball to feet, then he can turn and he's 1v1 against Gabriel with Haaland, make a run. You've got Doku on the far side that's going to start making a run inside the box. But that unselfish run there opens up the massive gap in the midfield because Rice is pushed a bit more forward because obviously they're on the man-for-man kind of pressing. And then as soon as that happened, Haaland's between the lines. You could say maybe Saliba comes across and cuts and make. It's difficult because as soon as Haaland turns, bro, he was on his bike, and you either have to run and try and cut him up and run across him and maybe tussle with him so you don't get the ball. But then even if you do that, Savinho can just carry the ball even further forward. And then what would end up happening? Timber will come across, get tighter. Saliba will get tight, and then they maybe finds a little slotted ball around the corner. Doku, Silva, and then across for a tap in. So either way, they're in. And then as soon as he lays it into feet, man, you already know what Haaland's about, bro. You don't play about. And then it was just a finish, man, and it was done deal. But yeah, even looking at
guys.
Sorry, bro, go ahead.
No. Sorry.
No. But even look at the way that Arsenal is, you can see that they got caught out because Kai Havertz was really high because Diaz pulled out. Let me see if I'll reset it to the start. Actually, actually. Zoom, too close, rotate there. You can see where
By the way,
Kai
guys, we're giving you this. This is real tactical stuff. You know what I'm saying? End's got the ball down,
Yo,
so you guys need
listen,
to
I'm
hit
gonna
that
say
like
it.
button
I'm
ASAP.
gonna say it again. You gotta like the stream, people. Like you could at least like the stream. Like big up to everyone that's locked in live in the comments. Yeah, but if you're watching this and you haven't liked it, you're frauds because Endz has pulled out this. Yeah, this tactical. You know what I'm saying? He's pulling out the big guns here. This is like MNF style. So guys, like it,
Come on.
like the stream.
No, facts, man. Listen, it's simple because you guys have gambled in it because Martinelli's pressing, and then you got Calafiori going right. I'll just squeeze onto Savinho if he gets the ball. But yeah, as soon as that he went, and that's hard in it because you're meant to go and press as soon as the ball goes to that guy. But he might have just reacted a bit too slow. I think he should be closer. I think Calafiori should be closer to him before that because he's the option, he's the outlet there. Because the outlet, he can go back to Diaz, they can recycle it and go across the pitch and then go to Akanji. Garvado will probably drop back and then they go to him. But as soon as he goes, right, that's the free man. And Martinelli does press, but it's like it's not a half-eye press, but it's more of a half-hearted. And you can see that they've gone the man for man. You know, Rodri's next to it, Trossard and Partey, Silva and Gundogan, Rice. So they've kind of gone man for man here. But it stems from just Calafiori just slightly just being behind play. And once he comes in, Bernardo goes, right, let me attack the space he's left. And then it's Haaland in. And then it's just easy after that. Because even if you guys go back and watch even if you go and watch the highlights from it, from the actual game on Sky Sports here, you can see as soon as Savinho makes the run inside, their midfielders run past your midfielders straight away. So even they would have just outnumbered you regardless. Like it felt like you guys just reacted so slow there.
I tell you what happened because great again and massive. And the only thing I would like to add on to that is with how we press anyway is when Martinelli's pressing, we try and set traps. That's how Arsenal do. It's not as aggressive in terms of trying to win the ball back where whoever's in possession. It's allowing that pass to happen down the line. But where you said it is where Calafiori should have been tighter. And this is the difference in football, guys, is Calafiori, the distance between him and Savinho was too big, and he's making up that distance. And when he's running towards Savinho, his momentum's going that way. And Savinho is very clever, very technical with that touch inside, going against Calafiori's momentum. He's not able to shift his balance and go there, and he exploited that space. So Calafiori, if he's there a bit earlier and slightly to the right, that's where the space isn't there, and Savinho is not able to do that. And the option is to go on the outside, which Savinho isn't as good in on his right foot, but he's very tricky and very good and nimble. So that's the quality that they had there. Also with the midfield, I'm glad that you zoomed in on him, is Gundogan. So Gundogan, he's the one who made the run just a bit ahead of Rice. But what the issue was and why the space was so big between Saliba and Gabriel is Saliba initially reacted to go to Gundogan first. But however, Rice was actually recovering. He was getting back. He was getting there. But that hesitation from Saliba, and as you said, Silva made that run out there. Gabriel was mindful of that, but also trying to keep tabs on Haaland, who timed his run perfectly. I think Gary Neville also did a big piece on that, and that was quite good in terms of how he held his run and then went. That was brilliant. But Saliba, for me, that's where if he goes to Haaland and he trusts Rice, because for me, Man City were in a good position anyway. They could have scored in other ways, but that would have taken more steps, more passes, more things to happen, more dominoes to fall. So if Saliba goes to Haaland earlier, he's able to slow that situation down, and Haaland's not able to get the shot, get his speed, get his legs going so early. And so trust, he should have left Rice, but I'm glad this is a great piece of analysis there. And maybe it would have taken a harder pass for Savinho to get it to Gundogan, and that's what you do in football, isn't it? Endz, you got to kind of pick your poison and try and make them do the hardest thing. That was a little bit too simple for me in terms of what they did. One touch, but he's still excellent quality. But Saliba got to move over a little bit earlier, go to Haaland, and instead of trying to watch the run from Gundogan.
It's the whole point of it as well, and they always tell you, man, especially at the high level, it's about delaying. So they always say delay. So when you're dropping back as a unit and then you're delaying
Yeah,
that person for finding that great pass or getting a shot. You're trying to delay them to allow the Partays and the Rice and maybe the Trossards and Martinelli to try and get back and get a foot in or slow him down and throw him off a bit balanced. And then he has to probably turn out and then go back. At least then you've set and you've had a chance to organize again. But on it, bro, it's literally that run from Bernardo Silva. As soon as he takes Partey out of that middle of the park, it opened up. Because as soon as he makes that run, it frees up the whole middle for Gundogan to make the run. And Savinho just literally utilizes that space. He goes, right, okay, I'll run into that space then. And then bang, finds him early because Haaland's run is demanding. He's demanding that pass. He's like, bro, give it to me now. As soon as he gives it to him, bro, man, he's so deadly, bro. I can't even lie.
Yeah.
He's so deadly. Just one little chance, just a little run through the gap. And your goalkeeper had no chance, bro. Just pokes it past him. And then you find yourself 1-0 down. But yeah, man, that's kind of my take on especially that goal. And then obviously we can talk about the goals that Arsenal scored and stuff like that. But for the Man City standpoint, yeah, that's how they got their first goal. And I feel like if they carried on playing, I think Arsenal would have obviously had their goals, which we saw. But I feel like Man City would have got more because they would have opened up more pockets as well, because Arsenal would have tried to go, especially in that low block early, because they would have thought, maybe smell a bit of blood. Can we get another one? Can we go again? Kind of mentality. Because everyone's always, like, especially last season, it was like, oh, you only come here for a draw and blah, 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 especially being 2-1 up. And like, no, we're going to be defensively strong. But when we get the opportunity, we're going to punish you as well. But obviously going down to 10 men just had to change the whole game plan completely.
Nah, man. By the way, guys, Endz is dropping a fucking clinic right here, people. You got me sitting there thinking, fucking hell, like, yeah, I need to sit down and reevaluate a couple things that I was thinking. You know what I mean? In my head. So big up to Endz every single freaking time, man. But like, to be honest, everything you said, I'm just more listening. I'm not even, when you're just taking in information, I'm writing down. I'm like, okay, yeah, Endz said, yeah, this guy was moving here. Okay, cool. So because he said that, I need to make sure next time I watch this player. So guys, man, please make sure you smashing the like button if you are liking, even if you dislike the content. Fuck it, you put a thumbs down. I just need some level of interaction on the page. Taking a look, obviously, just quickly, obviously you touched upon it there, and I know Tariq, you spoke upon it there as well. I felt like obviously in the game, in terms of Arsenal, the way that you were kind of defending in this 4-4-2 shape, so to speak, within the game. How do you feel that kind of helped? Obviously, prior to the red card, we'll use that. Prior to that red card, how do you feel like it was helping or not helping you guys in that first half?
Yeah, that's synonymous with Arsenal. Even when we have Odegaard, we still defend in that same sort of shape. It fluctuates from a 4-4-2 to a 4-2-4 depending on how we're pressing. And what Arsenal did, guys, and again, I see a couple of people in the chat. Oh, Arsenal just low blocked it. I know G's got the that didn't happen. Arsenal in the first half went man to man, just like in this situation right here, as we can see. But what happens is when you get beat in those 1v1 man-to-mans, it literally creates space and goes out there. This is when the ball's being progressed further up the pitch. Arsenal sitting in their mid-block in this situation. But when the ball was into Man City's half with their goalkeeper, it was more of a man-to-man press. And that's what Arsenal do. And City always spread out and get their players in out wide. This is the 4-4-2 that Arsenal sit with. And I think we saw, again, I think Schlott does a 4-2-4 going forward. And then when it does go drop into the mid-block, this is what happens. Again, Man City, they have their own, they do their own in terms of a mid-block purposes. So this is where similar in terms of what we did in the second half of outside the box. But it was very interesting tactically. And that's where Man City thought, and they used their threat, and where they wanted to do was go out to that right. And what Arsenal did is how they adapted. First 15 minutes, Man City blew the game, and they were scintillating what they were doing. And Arsenal kind of had to hang in there a little bit when Gundogan had his chance as well too. But then once Arsenal recognised, Arteta made a slight little adaptation, allowed a little bit more space out for Doku. He was picking up a little bit more, but wasn't getting as much joy as what Savio was. And then we was able to get into these situations where we were able to go out there and press them back. And then after the first 15, 20 minutes, that's when Arsenal, we saw a foothold in the game. Partey getting in the ball in the possession, progressing it. Calafiori, the synonymous Saliba, when he gets the ball, he likes to do a little turn, little drive past Haaland. It took 20 minutes or so for Arsenal to go and do that, and it was brilliant. And that's when we started to win our corners. And you saw the first corner in the first at 38th minute, and then Arsenal had a big chance from that from there. So it's all about hanging in there and growing into the game. There was always going to be periods, just like how it was in the other two games last season, periods where Man City had a little bit of pressure and dominance, and then periods where Arsenal were able to do it as well. So it wasn't just a sit back and counter attack thing. And as you can see, looking when to trigger the press, it's the traps, not going in man for man, allowing that pass, trying to shift them out to that one side. Because, guys, again, tactically, if you're pushing the player out wide to the byline, you're decreasing that space by 180 degrees. And I know this sounds mad, it's all mathematician, but they can't, but that's the line that they have to use. Whereas if that ball gets played in the middle, you've got all of that turn, you got all of that to the left, you got someone in front of you, to the left of you, behind you, to the right, just to the the diagonal areas. So that's where Arsenal, that's why we turn over the ball in our press so often. But that's where I really do appreciate what Arsenal do this season is we can mix it up in any type of way. We can go with the man-to-man and look dangerous. We can go sit in a mid-block and then you have to try and get the ball through the lines there. And then when it does go out wide, we can defend our box. But it was very interesting in that. And what I thought Arsenal did, and my last point before I let G jump in and Endz is, Arsenal were showing they got a bit more physical as after that 20 minutes. And that's why when we did get into their box, that's where Man City were kind of afraid in a way. And when I say afraid, it's not that they're afraid of Arsenal in terms of that. I'm talking about the challenges. Oh, calling for Edison's being blocked. Ref, what's this? What's that? No, that's where Arsenal dangerous on set pieces. Like that first header from Gabriel, I had my head in my hands. I was like, oh my days, got to score that. And then we saw the carbon copy with the actual goal. And and few more seconds till half time. It would have been interesting to see what the tactics would have been for the second half. But yeah, man, first 20 minutes, I'll give that to Man City. Brilliant. But then Arsenal, I think Arsenal took and got settled into the game, started to progress the ball a little bit more. And the statistics on halftime show it. Both teams had the exact same amount of shots. Both teams had the exact same amount of shots on target. So yeah, it was very good. And I was very happy with that first half in the end.
No, listen, man. I think the lads, to be honest, this has probably been the best episode. I'll be honest with you. This is a good conversation. And to be fair, as Endz said earlier on, it's Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta at the end of the day. So this is a tactical game. So I can understand from a neutral's point. I can understand at times you might look at this and think, "Oh, this is kind of boring," etc. I get it, and I can kind of see where you guys are coming from. But for me, you just heard Endz and Tariq just talk about the game. That does not sound boring to me. Do you know what I mean? So maybe we need to look at different kind of definitions in terms of, obviously it's all perception, it's all, your own perspective on the game, kind of thing. But I think the last thing really that and you both touched on it anyway, Tariq, you mentioned there about, on that left-hand side for Manchester City, so Doku and obviously Grealish when he came on and Timber on that side. I know I saw the stat. I don't believe it because I'm sure I saw Timber make a pass in the game. But I sorry, go on.
No, you go. You carry on, bro.
All else, like I thought I saw him make a pass, but listen, that's neither here nor there. If let's just go with the hypothetical that he didn't make a pass in the game. Okay, no worries. To me, that was one of the best displays I've seen from a right back to not make a pass in the game. I'll keep it a buck with you because big up Endz. I just see a message now. Big up, guys. Please make sure head on over to Endz's channel. It's already there in the description. It's there in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe to Football with Endz, please, and love Endz for jumping on this evening, bro. But yeah, no, it was just like, for me, that was such a good performance from Timber because all the play for Manchester City was all here. So whoever it was in the second half, it was all here. Everything was happening down this way. So obviously you had him there, and then obviously Martinelli obviously helping to come back at times. But all the play was here. So really the space was actually out there for someone like Timber, someone like Doku, should I say, sorry, to be able to get that space, do his little, as honestly said, jinky majinky thing, and then potentially try and cut in or potentially go on the outside, which, by the way, he did do a couple of times, which is taking him down the line and then putting the ball in. But obviously, it's too crowded in this area. But when I'm watching, all of the play for Manchester City, it's like Endz said, why is all of your football here? You got all of these, just say Rodri obviously replaced for whoever. Why is all of your football here? Why? Why is all of the football here? And you've got this happening over here. You've got all of this happening here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in there with Rice coming back in there as well. Why is all of your football here? You're not like spreading the ball. And I felt like during the game, they just was not moving the ball quick enough. So Arsenal, yes, they were in fantastic shape. And I totally agree with that. And as Endz said, you were blocking those passing lanes, but Jesus Christ, move the ball a tad bit quicker. Just a bit quicker, because you keeping on, and you said it there about why he didn't bring on Rico Lewis. That's what I thought he should have brought onto the game, because I feel like he's just a little bit different with what he can do. He can shoot from outside the box, but it's just the way that he plays. I feel like he could have added something to the game. So you're going to bring all of these players on who are all relatively doing the same kind of job. So even Savinho doing the kind of same thing. Bernardo Silva, he was good for the first goal, but again, he's trying to play in these little pockets. He's sometimes coming a little bit deeper here, there, and everywhere. Haaland was just Haaland doing absolutely nothing, but I guess we can live with that. Gundogan, I know he was trying to pick up the ball here sometimes from Akanji or from Diaz, and then trying to pop the ball off to this player or to that player or to that player, and then make the run, of course, into the box. But again, he's being kind of snuffed out. Why? Because the back line of Arsenal was so fucking resolute. You could not get, it was like this is about as good as line as I could probably make it. But it was literally, you could not move this at all. But I always felt, bro, there's space here. Move the ball a bit quicker. Gundogan, move the ball out to whoever was obviously in replacement for Rodri. Move the ball out to Doku faster. Get the ball out to him quicker. Because if you get the ball out to someone like Doku quicker, 1v1s, it can be tricky. I'm not saying he's going to win all the time, but it can be a tricky thing. But you made it a bit more easier for someone like Timber, and Timber's already good. He's already good in these 1v1s. So if you're going to make it easier for him, I'm just like, well, that's kind of pointless now, because Timber was just eating it up. He was calm. And obviously, I'm assuming the message is, guys, as long as we stay as a unit, as Endz said, as long as that midfield does all the shifting, the back line, Gabriel and Saliba, you two in there, in the middle, if anything comes in the middle, eat it up. You guys are going to eat up anything in the middle, because the reality is, let's be real, other than Haaland, is anybody really an aerial threat in that box? Not really. So it's going to need to be played along the floor, so to speak, in all these situations. And I feel someone like a Gabriel and Saliba, they're able to kind of withstand that. But go on, sorry.
Gee, you've hit the nail on the head. And this is where it goes back to how Man City are, and especially missing Kevin De Bruyne, but they never had, sorry.
That's right.
And they never had Kevin De Bruyne. They had Kevin De Bruyne for the second fixture last season, and they still had the same issue. This is where, when the game gets put in like this, why Bernardo Silva's crying and why there's talking about so much is because this is where Man City struggle, because they don't move the ball quick enough. And the reason being is because they don't want to lose the ball and turn it over and create a turnover and a counter-attack themselves. So they are a little bit slower, but a bit more precise in making sure that ball gets out there. If we talk about like Liverpool, for example, what they will get that ball out quickly. They will get it out. What Liverpool were known to do is they will afford that turnover and then trust them to win it back, use their centre-backs, use their midfield in terms of how they press and etc. to win that ball back and create a transition themselves. That is that's what you thrive in. You thrive with that chaos. Man City didn't want that, because for me, defensively, they don't. And I'm going to bring up this man. We spoke about on that same side where Savinho was causing problems, Martinelli was causing problems for Walker. And Liverpool fans, you guys in the chat, you already know when you guys played them last year, what was happening, where was the danger, where was a lot of your chances being created through Luis Diaz on that side. The problem with Walker is, for the goal, I know a lot's been made out with the referee calling him over and he's out of position. But if you actually look at it, when the free kick was taken, he was in a position in line with his defenders. And let's not take it as the isolated incident, because we know how Walker defends anyway. England, we was on here and we were talking about this. He likes to do the superhero thing. I'll
yeah,
give you the
yeah.
space because guess what? What will I do? What will he do, G?
He'll just run back. He's got the pace to be able to do
Exactly.
so.
So
Yeah,
when that happens, though, but Martinelli is able to cut back and then and lay off for Calafiori and then get there, and then it's too late. And then you're able to afford it. What Walker should really do is get tighter to his marker quicker. And then if they do turn him, he's got the speed anyway. But I just don't,
yeah,
but I don't think Walker likes to do that. He likes to afford the space and like to do it. But that's what Martinelli likes. That's what
yeah,
Martinelli likes to do. If you get closer to Martinelli and force him with his back to goal, it's a problem. That's where
yeah,
Martinelli needs to develop because he's not like Saka, where Saka will roll you inside, be able to play that quick pass, make that secondary movement. Martinelli's a bit more head down, as again, we all like to say it, head down, and doesn't quite pick out the pass, isn't quite as good as shielding, using his body to protect the ball between him and the man and the ball. That's what the issue is. And even defensively, you see it for the corner, doing a little tap, tap, tap. Like he's got a
yeah,
lot of confidence in himself in there. But he is more vulnerable in those situations and trying to catch them back. Really, what Walker should do, what I'm telling you for Martinelli, is get really tight, give
yeah,
him the little tug, almost be on the edge of a foul. That's what should happen instead of going,
mm,
yeah, I've got you. I've got you. That's the problem where a Man City are vulnerable in that. And guys, and let's talk. And when we talk about Man City, and I saw Angel saying it earlier in terms of Arsenal, their creativity, that's an issue at the moment. And yeah, that is. And we're going to find out the answers for that in the next games. That's why I was confident of getting a result in this one and against Spurs, but the
mm,
Southampton one, where Leicester, where they might be a bit more pragmatic and set up in a similar way to this, is we've got to break them down, and then that's an issue. But with Man City, what we've seen this season is them have a problem defensively. In the Chelsea
mm,
game, letting up chances. We saw what Mohamed Kudus did in the West Ham game, letting up chances, and Brentford sensed it as well.
yeah,
People like this is where Man City, and I think a big reason for that is because they've not had Rodri, not been playing him, and that's going to be a
yeah,
question. And how Pep Guardiola is going to solve that is there is space and issues to cause them on the transition. That's where Arsenal got their corner from good work down the right, but that's where Arsenal got their first goal from good down at the left, and that's what Man City are going to have to deal with, and that's what the answers. And even from an attacking point of view, there is, and I spoke about this, there is a whole lot of reliance on Haaland at the moment as well.
yeah,
And you can
yeah,
rely on him when he's scoring that many goals, no problem, scintillating. But I don't actually think Man City have been the best performing team. I think the best performing
no,
team so far is your team so far, G, in terms of all over the game, all round in what you're doing defensively. Man City let more chances than you. When's the last
mm,
time you've been able to say that, G?
yeah.
Like,
It's true. No, it's true. It's true. It's true. I
and
agree.
that,
I
like
agree.
last season, the issue with Liverpool is the amount of chances that they were letting, and good chances, maybe not the volume, but the good chances, the quality of chances that were getting let upon you. You're not even letting
Hmm.
that no more. Man City are letting quality chances up against them. They weren't quality in terms of open play on the weekend, but again, second 45 minutes might have been a different story. But
Mm.
that's shoulda, woulda, coulda. But we've seen it already so far. So Man City, I think that was, again, Pep Guardiola, Rico Lewis, put him in there. He's more comfortable in dealing with that, and he's been quite good defensively too in those
Mm.
dueling. But I think Pep was worried about what Martinelli's pace was and what he can do in that situation, because Martinelli, even though his output hasn't been good and his end products, but his performances in the last couple of weeks have been improved. So in the Spurs
Mm.
game, he had that big chance and miss, but he did initial good work to get there. And even in Atalanta, where he missed that big chance, but
Yeah,
he's getting into that, you know what I mean? Like getting into those areas. It's like where our fans get frustrated with it. It's a similar thing to what you guys had with Diaz. It's like, oh my
yeah.
day, bro. Like you do amazing thing, and then you miss the big chance. But what Diaz is doing now, he's putting it in the back of the net. And that's when
No,
he's
it's
getting
true.
the plaudits.
And
So yeah. So
I
that's
was
all I
even
want.
just no, no. I was even going to just piggyback on of what you just said. Is that's I think going to be Martinelli's not even issue, but because I don't think it's an issue for the manager and the team, because they can see what he can do, and obviously you're working with him every day. You see what he's about, blah blah blah. I think it's more for the fans. I think in terms, because we, like you said, we had it with Diaz. Like like Liverpool fans, let's not act like at the beginning of this transfer window we said sell Diaz. I was one of those people. Sell him to Barcelona, get the money. Let's bring in another winger. Of course you are, because he's doing the same thing as a Martinelli in terms of you can do all the work leading up to the point, but you're not putting it in the back of the net, or you're missing chances, or you're not getting the assist, and it's too much, and it's very consistent. Whereas obviously this season, different story. The guy's scoring all the bloody time, and everyone's singing his praises, which they rightly should do. But I feel like with Martinelli, he's still quite young, so I feel like they'll just kind of wait on that one. Obviously, if it looks like it's going to go to shits, in a year, then fair enough. But I think for now, he's in a place where it's like you can see what he needs to work on, and he's got good qualities. And I've said it before, like I would have blatantly taken Martinelli at Liverpool anyway. So listen, man, I think it is just one of those ones. But in terms of the game, in terms of like overall, like looking at it, for me, it was a very good spectacle. I liked the game, even when he went down to 10 men, because what I liked about it was I was like, bro, Arsenal are gonna defend like you've never seen defending before. Like, and I'm not even talking about like last ditch tackles and stuff, like that kind of stuff where you're like they're just staying in the game and it's just a matter of when. I'm talking you've never seen, or I haven't seen a team like this. Maybe not. Maybe there's one in the back of my head I'm not thinking of. I can't remember watching a game and seeing a team defend like this, bro. Like I'm seeing the midfield. It's like you're going like this all the fucking time. Like you go that side, and you go to the right hand side, and then you're watching. And I was watching Gabriel and Saliba because I was like, I want to see what they do in these situations, but they just look calm because Haaland's not doing. Because I guess you're lucky and unlucky because he scored, right? You're lucky you come up against a striker like Haaland who doesn't get involved with play. So you're not even worried about him making like a stupid run here or a run off the back here, like because you're in that kind of mid block. So I'm not too worried. My defenders are fast enough. Obviously, yes, they caught you out before. Yes, it can happen. But in a general sense, we can kind of manage what he's going to do because he's playing in front of us. If he's in front of us, we're good. Behind us, that's when it becomes an issue. But in front, we're good. Bernardo Silva, I felt in the game, yes, for the goal, again, outside of the goal, he just wasn't really being the influential player that we know he kind of can be, but he couldn't. There is no space. Where the hell is he running into? The ball's just being popped into him. He's popping it back. They're passing lethargically out to the right side. Savinho, yeah, Calafiori, a couple times, fair enough. But outside of that, nothing's really going on. And again, you have to big up Arsenal, guys. Like you have to in this game in terms of what they actually had to do. Yes, they conceded in the last minute of the game. That to me was just more about an inevitability more than they were being poor. It was just like, bro, I don't think you can hold them out for this amount of time. Did you get? There's going to be 1 second, one moment where it's just, and you're against Manchester City as well. So it's these kind of things that obviously will happen. But in totality, I felt like you guys had a fantastic game. I'll be honest with you. And as you said, if you would have taken a draw before the game, surely because of obviously how the game kind of panned out. But listen, man, we have to big up Arsenal, guys. Like we can't sit here and try and lie about it in terms of, oh, he parked the bus, brother. I expect him to. Like, what does everyone want him to do? Start doing 4-4s and then have one player who's just always, bro. It's not gonna work. Not against City, bro. Not against City. Like you'll get picked apart like there's no tomorrow if he had tried that. And as Endz said about game state, obviously maybe if the scoreline was different at the time in half time where you were already 2-3-0 down, maybe he might have done that, but you were 2-1 up. So he's definitely looking at it thinking, this half, we are just defending. I don't want you, Havertz, to do nothing. We're going to kick the ball long when we need to. Cool, do your thing, but we're going to kick it into space. And that was one thing I did see with Raya was he kept kicking it like to like the right-hand side or the left-hand side, but like in the corner. He weren't kicking it through the middle because he knows kicking through the middle is going to come straight back. At least if I can get it as far as possible into that corner, it could potentially go out for a throw in over there, meaning they've got to restart. We can get back into shape. They've now got to come back, on us. So, yeah, man, honestly, for me, I think it was a good game, man.
This is why I love coming on here, and I love chatting to you, Endz and Savage, when it comes with this thing, because we're able to speak objectively and look at these things and praise when praise is given. Like the ones who know me in the chat will know how much praise I give to Liverpool in certain situations. I think you've got the best attack in the league, and what you're building right now is in the games that you're meant to win, in impenetrable defense at the moment. That's what it's looking like. And the big games, of course, there's other questions to be answered, just like we have questions to be answered as well. But we're able to speak objectively. And when you just mentioned about the Raya thing, kicking it out all the way to the corner, this is what Highbury, TBG, you guys will know this, and other Arsenal fans watching, and even rival fans. Arsenal pay attention to every single
Yeah.
detail. Look at the first goal that we score, and Pep Guardiola spoke about it. Quick restarts, whether it's free kicks, throw-ins, corners, whatever, they are to the point. And he said we're the best in the world in that in that aspect, and he's not wrong, because that's how on point we are, and why there's all those fine little margins, and that's what Arteta has drilled and instilled. It was 3 years ago. I know there's a lot of the Paella Pulis now, but literally 3 years ago, that wasn't the narrative. It was Pep's Coleman. It was everything copying from Pep. But 3 years ago, we were doing long throw-ins into the box.
Yeah.
We did it with
Yeah.
Partey. I remember watching it. I was at the Wolves Arsenal game, and we was having Partey getting the ball white down and doing a long throw, getting our centre backs into the box. He's not afraid. He's completely opposite to Arsene Wenger in that. And Arsene Wenger didn't value these parts of the game. He was so focused on, like Ange. I like how Ange is no, we're going to play the right way. We're going to make sure we score goals in every way, like in the best way possible. Little tiki taka, beautiful football. That's what we want to do, and that's how we will win. That's exactly what he said. Whereas Arteta, no. A little bit of Mourinho, a little bit of Moyes, a little bit of all got the pep in there. Guys, the dark arts that get spoken about, it's a bit mad, but haven't we been on here talking about Man City's little bit of dark arts?
Now we have,
which we saw in the first 13 seconds when Rodri went down the way he did, trying to get Havertz booked. But that's a part of the game. That's what it is. And yeah, man, absolutely. Like, that's why I've got so much belief in Arsenal. And that's why I do put the pressure and say, bring a major trophy, because we might not be the best in every aspect, but we are one of the best in every aspect. Do you know what I'm saying? And we're definitely in set pieces. That's our USP. That's what's winning us these big games. That's what's getting us results in these big games. Just like when we played you away at Anfield, it was a set piece goal. When we beat Spurs, 2 set pieces last year, and a set piece one, and a set piece one on the weekend. So yeah, man, we obviously got other questions to answer. It's a long season, and it's a long season for us as Arsenal. It's a long season for you as Liverpool. But those are the questions that are answered. And look at me and you, G. We're chatting last week about the AC Milan game. Yeah, you guys played well, but where did your first 2 goals come from, bro?
Yeah, set pieces. Set pieces.
That's what I rate Slot and what he's doing, and I'm being quite positive in what he's doing, because he's like, yo, we can do it. You haven't seen it yet, but in terms of allowing the opposition to get the ball, because you've just been simply better than everyone that you've played so far. But when it does get into those little tighter ones, it will. I think Slot is going to be able to tactically adapt, similar to what we saw in preseason. First half, you guys were the aggressors, and then you guys went, try and break us down, and we couldn't.
I think you'll
see that from Liverpool, and it will be praised, and it will be rightly praised as well.
No, it's all facts, man. Well, sorry, let me not say it's all facts, because I guess facts are all subjective, right? But I'm going to say, in my opinion, I agree with what Tariq is saying, man. We're gonna run through some questions. I know you guys have been throwing in all the questions, man. And big up everybody in the chat, by the way, man. Much love to every single one of you. You already know the vibes as it is. Make sure you do head on over to Tariq Talks as well. Subscribe. Let me get to the first one. To be honest, they're mostly for you, to be honest. People, I don't know why everyone's throwing them down at you, but let's go to... We'll do this one. Question for Therese from Honesty. What's your opinion on City fans saying Raya was wasting time from the jump, and they showed Raya wasted at least 9 minutes in the game? I saw that. I think it was about.
Yeah, and he did. But for me, that's again what any team that would be down to 10 men would do, and I'd expect the exact same if City were in that situation. And yes, as fans, you're frustrated. You're like, come on, referee, get in control of it. But then I saw a nice stat, and I'm not going to argue with that stat, because I saw another stat where Manchester City have taken the longest on each goal kick this season on average. Ours is 37 seconds. Theirs is 39 seconds on goal kicks. So, guys,
that's crazy to think.
Is normal in that situation. That's what's going to happen. You're away from home. That's up to the referee to deal with that. And I think the referee didn't have a good control in the game from the get-go.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that there was no good control on the game. Michael Oliver, and I've really rated him as well, and I've said that he's the best referee in the league. And even after the Kovacic incident and last year, I still went, I'd much rather have Michael Oliver. But on Sunday, I saw a different Michael Oliver in that. He wasn't as in control, and Michael Oliver, we had him against Aston Villa, and this is why it's crazy to me what the decision that he made is. Do you remember the Aston Villa game where John McGinn went into Saliba, booted the ball at him, and then Ben White booted the ball back at him?
Yeah.
You know what Michael Oliver did? Nothing.
What?
He said, "Guys, do your thing. Like it's all right. I'm not going to get involved in that." And there was a lot of physical challenges from both teams. We got physical on them, and I thought, boom, another referee is going to give that as a foul. And then even the chance that they created when Watkins, there was Bailey was getting really physical with Gabriel there, and I said, if that's another referee, he gives it a foul, but I'm not going to complain about it because what he does is he was consistent. And he let us get away with it, so you don't complain. But what Arsenal fans' frustration is the consistency with the rules. That's what's not being shown. So whether
I agree.
If everyone was punished the same way as Trossard is, then Arsenal can't complain. But I would still have complaints about the rule because you're trying to make these players be robots. And already where they're treated like robots, playing how many games a season? You know, if Rodri would have stayed fit and he would have played and he would have played every game this season. He would have played 85 games. 85 games for club and country.
A lot of games, bro. That's a lot of games.
And
don't you think it's funny? Yeah, not funny because he's injured. But both Rodri and Alisson were two players who spoke about the fixture schedule being a lot. Guess who the two players who are now out injured? Rodri and Alisson.
They know their bodies, man. They know their bodies, and they're being put through. And again, it doesn't matter how much money's in your bank account. That don't make you feel less tired.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm tired of this because I've seen quite a lot of idiots. I see them, and I will say that they're idiots. That I see them online talking about, but you're getting paid. Okay, so does getting paid more signify that they should play more? Like, remember, guys, it's a subconscious contract that we're kind of all we've all put ourselves in, right? So we decided to go and watch the game because we want to watch our teams and support our teams up and down the country, different countries, etc., etc. We choose to do that. The players then, obviously, we expect them, of course, to perform every single game. Yeah, they're gonna have bad games, but we expect them to be able to perform. If the player can't perform, and one of the reasons is because he's too fatigued, he's playing too many games, etc., are we not going to get mad and start thinking, well, I don't want to come to the games anymore? But ultimately, we're still deciding to come to these games. If you want to go to all the games, absolutely fine. I'm not going to begrudge you. Of course, that's fantastic. But the reality is you've got to understand these players cannot play 85 games, if what Tariq was saying. 85 games. And you know what? I'll even chalk off 5 of them just as 5 dead rubber games that Rodri just might have just not needed to have played because it's a cup game here and there. I'll say 5 Carabao Cup, FA Cup.
10, bro, 75.
Even 10, 75 games that a guy could potentially play. We've seen it with Pedri. We've seen it with Gavi. What's happened to those two? Injury-prone players. Why? Because they were playing every single game. But then we're still demanding, no, but keep playing. Guys, this is not slavery times. We cannot continue to try and whip these players into this kind of frenzy because, as Rodri said, if the players decide to go on strike, what the hell are we going to do? Because I don't want to go through COVID again where there was no football for ages and we're sitting here fucking crying our eyes out kind of thing. No, we need to understand that, the reality is I feel they're playing too many games anyway. I think we're going to start seeing more and more injuries. Kevin De Bruyne didn't even fucking play on the weekend, by the way. So again, we're starting to slow. Obviously, I know he's a bit older, but it's still, we're starting to see that, it's starting to take their tolls. Even from the pundits, by the way, and again, pundits are idiots as well, because they kind of feed into that narrative of like, well, you're getting paid. I mean, there's sports science in that. Listen, I don't think, and big up to all of the ex-players, right? I respect all of them. But Rio, I'm sorry, there's no way you're playing 75, 80 games in that season. Not in today's game. No fucking way, mate. It's not happening. And not because you're not good. It's just because, bro, your body's going to break down. You're only going to be able to do this for about 3 or 4 seasons, and then that's it. We're never going to see a good Rio ever again. So we've got to understand that.
And especially when you get booked every time there's a little kick, especially when you get 9 minutes added on. You get these ridiculous, we're getting more added time than we've ever seen. You're getting more harsh with your punishments for little bits of time wasting, with little bits and that. Playing more games down to 10 men, you're going to have more of that. Like you're making the game more intense physically, because this is the most intense that it has been in terms of the fitness, the science, the football science of it. But when you're doing this to them as well, you're just killing it off even more. The same situation will happen. Like this is why you do not get tribalistic with these things when it comes to like this part of the game and how many games, 12:30 kickoff times. Don't just tell Liverpool fans to get on with it. I'm talking to my fan base here because it's annoying, and don't tell us in the same way, because it's very annoying as well. Because you're asking them, because we had to do it playing the Champions League on a Thursday and then playing on a Sunday. But when you play on a Wednesday and then play 12:30 away on a Saturday, like I mean that's ridiculous. You're asking way too much, and that's why. And we're talking about now that we're having to rotate our main players. We're having to do that. The ones that you pay your money to go in CG, the ones that you guys go down to go there. The reason why you are so invested and why you want to, and why not just us. Why I will watch Liverpool versus Man City, because I want to see Van Dijk versus Haaland. I want to see De Bruyne versus, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I want to see the main players, Salah, whatnot. But if they're going out there and having to be rested, having to be taken off early, and the question is now, Liverpool is when the games come chopping thick and fast, and they already are. How many of those games is Van Dijk going to play? How many is Salah going to play? Especially maybe Van Dijk less so, because it's not as an intensive position. But Salah up and down the wing, Trent Alexander-Arnold, do you know what I mean? And you're having to pick and choose your competitions almost. And yes, you're not trying to throw away the cups and you want to do so, but you're having to go, okay, is it worth it doing it and making our players go to push to the very limit? Because what was the issue with Liverpool last season? You did very well. Yeah, you won the Carabao Cup and that, and you did very well in it, and then you played strong teams in every competition. But then what happened towards the end? The players were gassed.
The players were gassed, yeah. And we've had that quite a lot in quite a few seasons where we get to the end and our team is we might still win, but you can see, these guys are absolutely on last legs, where it's individual quality that's seeing us through, as opposed to the team is really, performing at optimum level. So now listen, man, guys, like I said, I just think that we've got to be a bit more mindful. I'm not saying it's not everybody. Like I said, it's some idiots that I see in like comment sections, and I know social media is a cesspit as it is, but it's just certain things I see, and I'm like, so you think that because they're getting paid 400 grand a week, that means that they have to play 75, 80 games a season if you're an international, especially at the highest level. Like, really? Like, and then, you know what I did see, actually? It was something I saw was, this was a fan of, I think it was a Wycombe Wanderers fan. It might have been a Wycombe fan. But he said, obviously, this is when Rodri obviously said that about the whole, we might go on strike. And he said, yeah, see, these Premier League players, man, they're just on too much money, blah, blah, blah. And when in the EFL, they play 46 games, obviously in the Championship, League One, League Two, whatever. And he was like, yeah, but my players have got to play 46 league games. On top of the 46 league games, we've got cup games, this, that, and the third. I said, okay, you see the difference between that is, one, it's not going to be likely that many of your players are going to play every single game anyway. So fair enough, but cool. Let's just say in an ideal world, they play every single EFL game, right? So that's 46 games that you're going to play. Two, you're very unlikely to make it through rounds in the cup competitions. So that already alleviates two competitions that you may not even get past the first round. So automatically, we've stopped it at 46. You're not in Europe. Not many of your players, yes, there are some, not many of your players are playing international football. So the reality is, you might have a player, you might even have, let's say, up to 3 to 4 players in the team who could play 50 games that season. I don't know about you, but 3 and 4 players in comparison to having fucking 7, 8, 9 players in my team, first 11 playing Champions League football, Europa League football, international football. I think there's a bit of a difference between them playing the 50, 60 games than 1 or 2 or potentially even 3 players in your team playing. And I don't want to disrespect the leagues, but just at a lower level than the Premier League. Like, come on, guys, like this can't be the topic of conversation.
Gee,
So
spot
it is what
on,
it is,
bro.
bro.
And to add to that, because nail on the head, I was going to say about the international, but guys, also the scrutiny that these players are under,
Yeah.
and when they do have a bad performance or half do a game, you know, when they're coasting through it, you can see players go through gears in games. You know, when we're talking about, oh, Man City are in their second gear, they won within their second gear. Literally because they have to play that way, because they're trying to sustain themselves for a long period of the season where they go into the end, when they can turn it on right at the end and build that fitness. And Arsenal, Highbury, I saw you say it in the chat, the same thing was being spoken about us last year. Slow start, not looking great, not looking sharp, this, that, the other. That's by design. That is because they're trying to say, we've got to win games, we've got to accumulate points, but we've got to make sure we hit our peak towards the end when you're in the latter stage of the competition, when you're in the latter stages of the Champions League and you've got these harder fixtures and all of that. So, the scrutiny that they're under, to think about the psychological, these are already like finely tuned athletes that have a ridiculous strong mentality to play for these clubs and perform anyway. So when they are having a bad game, we spoke about this as well with Liverpool fans, and it's not just Liverpool, Arsenal fans do it, or Man United, Man City, they all do it. After that Forest defeat, the uproar,
Oh my
my
God,
days,
Tariq,
you
bro.
can't, that
Oh
player's
my
crap.
God.
Get him out of the team. Don't want to see him again. We're crap. We're not even gonna finish top four. So gonna be in a top four race, blah, blah, blah. And you've got all of that on top of. They've just come back. What's McAllister doing? He's crap. We can't play with him in midfield. This is why we should have
Bro.
signed XYZ. Brother, man's just come from all the way from South America, short turnaround, in late, about 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, he's landing, one training session, coming up against a well-drilled Nottingham Forest team who have less international players anyway, Premier League, the fine margins, and saying all of this. I'm like, brother, you are going to lose games and drop points, and you are going to have bad performances and win games as well. Be conscious of what you're watching. Yes, you can criticize and say they didn't play a good game, but at least have the brain to have some context behind it and say, let's not have a complete meltdown. When just last week, when the pressure, when everyone was giving you guys all my days, Liverpool, how good they are, not conceding the goal, won every game, blah blah blah, and then it all falls apart and capitulates, and you're sending abuse to these players. It's again,
Bro,
I can't stand it.
It was so mad. Don't worry, guys. I've started all the questions, so I will get to them in a sec. But it was so mad, and I kept coming to this point, like what you just said there, yeah. Because I was like, there's no way that you as a Liverpool fan base, and obviously just in reference to that you've gone from beating Manchester United 3-0, and as Tariq said, everybody's saying you're fantastic, not conceding a goal, all that kind of good stuff, to 1.5 weeks later, fucking hell, yeah, we need to sell him. We need to sell Zabozolai. Nope, I need McAllister. What? Bro, you just had 3 games where everyone was telling me, bro, we're good. We don't even need any new players. How do we go from we don't need new players to we need new players in 1 game? I would understand if, as you say, this was a 7-game period and Liverpool are just, what's going on, man? Like, fair enough, because you'd have a bit more of a substance to be able to say, okay, you know what, it's been going on for a bit of a time. Players do look like blah blah, whatever. That's fine. 1 game, and everyone just went click click, and that's when I said, and I've done the show in the summer before, and I said, bro, big up Highbury, because you're saying it here. Football fans are too hyper fucking bollock at times. Like, you cannot go for this crazy extreme. It's a bit like you see with Gravenberch, yeah. And this isn't even to get onto him or nothing, because I think Gravenberch has been great this season. I think he really has actually been really good, and he's impressed me with what he's done this season. We can't go from not everybody, most people wanted to sell him, loan him out, didn't really see him as a first team player. This guy all of a sudden is the next Ballon d'Or winner. Guys, we cannot go for the maddest extreme. There has to be a middle ground when we're talking about football, because we know, as always, as the phrase is, form is temporary, class is permanent. We have no idea how these players are going to fare. And what I don't want, and what I think is a bit unfair, big up Jerry in the building, the gaffer. What I don't really like from like people in general is, I don't like the fact that if you're gonna praise or discredit someone, whatever, cool, that's fine. I don't like the chopping and changing too quickly because I'm like, well, it's unfair now. Gravenberch cannot have a bad game now. He actually can't. Because if he has one bad game, Jesus Christ, man. You know what the first thing people are gonna say? This is why we need a number 6. This reason. It will be a game against fucking whoever. It might even just be a game against West Ham tomorrow, for example. He might just play shit in that game. Everyone's going to say one thing, and I know it. It's going to be, yeah, you know what? This is why we need a number 6. This is why we wanted Supermendy. You see that? What? You just called him Rude Hullet. 5 for the last 6 games. You've called man Seedorf. He's been Edgar. This guy has been the greatest Dutch midfielders in the history of the game, all in one. Oh, and also some people throwing in Yaya Toure for good measure. Baby Pogba. So he's been 5 players in one. And we're going to then say, yeah, nah, you know what? I think this is why we need number 6. Guys, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. It just, for me, you can't flip-flop to these mad extremes in like off of one game after one game after one game. I don't mind when guys crash it on Nunes because I'm like, you've had fucking 2 seasons of it. I get it. But I'd also feel it'd be a bit unfair if Nunes was to play good in the last game, play good, let's say, whatever tomorrow, plays good again, and then someone goes, this is why. No, guys, let's wait and see. Let's give him the time because what then happens is, like every single player in the history of football, they have a bad game. At some point in time, they will just have a bad game, an off game, and whatever. So when they have that off game, are you then going to turn on him again? Like, I don't really get it. Like, so your opinion was only based on what you were seeing in the here and now. It wasn't actually based on any longevity. I just like, for me, it pisses me off, man. Like it's just one of those things, man. Smash the likes. Pierce, did you not have an image of Tariq? You and use End's image as the thumbnail? Nah, it was literally right at the end that Tariq said, "Bro, don't ask me stupid questions, bro."
No, Jerry. He said that he said to me by text. He said that he would turn people away seeing my face. But I don't know why I'm here, to be honest. It's disrespectful. Light skin, you know, Jerry, fellow light skin brother. We need to campaign against this, brother.
Next question, Tariq. Do you think you have a chance in Europe? Apparently, according to Dustin, teams in Europe don't fear you, and you barely scraped through a 40-year-old Pepe last year.
Dustin, again, and I've said this kind of I link it with Angel's one as well. Where Angel asked, "Did we win the? Do you think we can win the league?" I have so much belief and confidence in this team. People will call me deluded, but that's fine. I don't mind that because again, it's just my opinion. And if I'm wrong, I will say it and I hold my hands up. I thought we was going to win the league last year, but but we weren't good enough. We was good enough, but we weren't. Again, the mentality to get through those games where we didn't win our worst against Aston Villa. Whereas what I'm seeing now is Arsenal can do it. And that experience from what we had last year, I think will prove good for these players. We do need, with Europe, though, I'm not as confident as saying that. Well, I think we will win the Premier League this season. I said it to you, G. Remember what I said, actually? I said I think it could be a record points for, maybe a record points for Arsenal, not necessarily in terms of
into the Premier League,
yeah. But for Arsenal, which is over 90 points. So, yeah, I think that we will win the Premier League. I'm more confident in that. But with Europe, I think you need luck of the draw as well with that. And the time when you're facing teams, there's other factors that go into it. And yeah, I think that Arsenal can do it, and we can beat the best teams on our in any given day. I think we can. And yeah, I think that it's all about, okay, if we go away to if we have Real Madrid in a two leg, then of course Real Madrid are the favourites, and I'm happy with that. And if we get knocked out, that's what it is. But we got knocked out against a Bayern Munich team, and I know they weren't good in the league, but they were quite decent in the Champions League. And it was and it took Real Madrid to get to very late stages in this. Was it semi-final? Was it? They got to very late stage in the semi-final to go and win it in the end. So yeah, I do think that Arsenal do have a chance winning it. Not so sure. I think it's hard to say winners in the Champions League. Like, if I throw it back to you, Dustin, do you think you're going to win the Champions League this year? And if you fully go for it and fully do, fair play. And I'm not going to cuss you for that, because that means, and I can understand why, because your team is very good and you have the history to go for it in the Champions League. But from what I see right now in the pitch, your team is very good and you can defend, you can score goals. And yeah, it's just all about in the middle of the park, maybe. Again, like what we
Mm.
spoke about with Gravenberch, been brilliant so far. But in those games, in that Champions League away, etc., etc., he did it. He did it in Milan, but it was me and G were talking. He learned in that first half because it was a slow start. He was caught
Very
out
slow start.
in that. But then I don't think Milan are that good at the moment. So
No,
yeah,
no, they're not. They're really not. They're really not. They're
yeah,
really
we'll get
shit.
into it. So I think Arsenal will win the Premier League. To your question, Angel, and to Dustin, not so sure about the Champions League, but I think we'll go far. Quarterfinals at the very least.
I think before we get onto this question here, I think cup competitions you cannot predict. I'm sorry, that it's a, as Tariq said, that's all luck of the draw. I've seen Shrewsbury Town beat Premier League. Like these things can just happen in cup competitions. So if your name isn't really, and I'm being honest, if your name isn't Real Madrid or Manchester City, I don't think you look at the Champions League as, it's like a tricky one. Obviously, you got like Liverpool, Arsenal, and whoever, like Bayern Munich, PSG, whatever. They will look at it and think we can win this. But I think there's a difference between, yeah, no, we can go for this. You know what I mean? If we look at the draw, like I feel like there's going to be a few contingencies and there's going to be a few things that are going to need to kind of come into play in order for this to kind of happen. Whereas Real Madrid and Manchester City, I don't think they look at it like that. I generally believe they look at it the same way they look at the league, which is, I think we can win it. And we don't care who we face. It's just, we just think we can win it. Whereas we are all saying, bro, I don't want to face Real Madrid. Fuck that. I'm tired of facing Madrid and losing. Like, I just know what they're on, and they're in the Madrid in the Champions League are a different animal. Like, they will just, you just know they're going to win that game. So I don't really want to face them if I can avoid it, right? So it's always a tricky one with the Champions League, but cup competitions in general, I don't really like doing predictions on them because I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I might get Man City in the third round. Like, then what do I do? Like, I might get knocked out straight away. So leave it.
And G, this is, and what I wanted to add on that is, anyone here would have predicted Man United to win the FA Cup when you're seeing them halfway through the season?
No.
Exactly. When they played Newport and scraped to win in the end. And I said, it's not just the look of the draw who you're facing, it's the timings of when you're facing a good team. Again, when they played you, that was a great time for them to play you, guys, because of the players coming back from injury. Remember the injury players, the injury that you had at that point, and etc. Konate wasn't able to play because he was managing injury.
Trent was injured, I think, at that time. Yeah.
All of that, and with the fixture schedule that you had the Europa League and whatnot. Man United were out the Champions League by then, had no European other competition, and even though they were crap in the league, again, the timings. That's why cup competitions you can't. Whereas with the league, again, there's still, of course, there's luck involved, but you know the fixture list, you know what's going, okay, these are the block of games that are important. You can kind of break that down. Like, this is where you need to get X amount of points minimum, vice versa. Because the standards of the league is so high, you kind of can predict how much you need.
How it's gonna. It's funny because you just said about the predict thing. So whenever I'm playing Football Manager, I said this to the guys before. I always do that. So I'll look at the fixtures and I break it down into like 5s and 10s. So depending on what team if I'm like Liverpool, maybe it's 10. But if I'm like a smaller team like Crystal Palace, I break it into 5s, and I'll always say, all right, because 5 is usually in a month. So you're like, okay, you can kind of work it. These 5 games, I've seen the teams, whoever it is, I need to try and aim to get, let's say in 5 games, I'm trying to get 10 points as an example, just as a wild example. Doesn't matter where I get the 10 points from. I just want to gain 10 points from this block of fixtures, because then I know in the next 5-game block that I've got, I'm aiming actually to get 13. So if I can get wherever that point, like if I drop a game here and there, I don't really care. I'm just like, I just need to make sure I hit my points total, because I know what that adds up to, and then I can kind of move. Obviously, if I lose, let's say I've said I predicted 10 points and I only get 5, I know in my next block, I need to bloody win an extra game here or win all of them, because I do that all the time, because I'm like, as you said, as Tariq said, it's easier to kind of look at a season because the fixtures are already out, and barring later on in the season, most of the games stay the same. They rarely move unless it's like February times and you've had to change a fixture because of a cup game. Fair enough. But most of the games are all the same anyway, in the season. So
exactly. I'll ask you the question. You just said Liverpool's block of 5 games in the Premier League. How do you feel about that? Forget, like, that's probably what you expected, isn't it?
Yeah. I said if we lost any of those, you're asking questions of slot already. And it was only the Forest game, and considering you'd won all the other games in
And
and
you beat Man
around that,
United away.
and you beat Man United, yeah, like the Man United maybe was the only one I didn't think we'd win. I thought we'd draw that game. We ended up winning the game, so it kind
But
of
in that
leveled itself out.
you kind of answered it then, though, innit? Because your block of 5, you expected this amount of points after 5 games, like as a minimum.
Yes.
You expected as a minimum, and I agree. I actually thought you'd get maximum, but I thought you'd get it. But I said minimum that, and you lost against Forest. You picked up 3 points against Man United away. You didn't do that last season. You know what I mean? You didn't get 3 points against Man United, so that's already okay. We've hit the bare minimum, and now you look at the next block. Like your October, then that's a block of games. That's your trickier run in the Champions League. I think you actually have the hardest 8 games by average in terms of the teams that you're facing.
Oh yeah. To be fair, in terms
One
of
of I think PSG is the top hardest, but out of the Premier League teams, you've got the hardest.
Oh, Premier League teams, we got the hardest. Well, mate, we got fucking Bayern Leverkusen, Real Madrid. I know AC is shit, but it's still AC going to the San Siro. That's never going to be easy. You got, but I think it's Bologna, Lille. Like you got teams where you're like, I don't even know if you're going to be good or bad on that day, but they could cause you a problem, so to speak, if you're just not switched on for those kind of games.
Like,
so
respectfully, we've got Dinamo Zagreb, Girona. Do you know what I mean?
There you go.
And Shakhtar, Arsenal. Yes, we've got difficult. We've got Inter, we got PSG, we got Sporting, but those aren't harder than Real Madrid.
But you know what I mean? Like it's like, well, okay, now this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Honestly, asking another question for Tariq. You guys can't surely just rely on your defense to score because Havertz ain't Martinelli neither, and also surely you can't put the pressure just on Saka for GA.
Of course it's not sustainable for it doesn't feel like it's sustainable for 38 games or 50 if you include competitions and that, but right now we know we're going through a tricky part in terms of Martin Odegaard not having the depth to rotate players to come in. We've got depth in our attack with like Trossard, and he's missing Bolton, but Sterling, Jesus, we've got that now, but in other areas, but in midfield, we're really lacking a lot, and we're literally putting players on their last legs in there and having to play Rice. Like someone said, he's leggy, and we've not been able to really give him a break, to be honest. So, Arsenal, those questions will be answered. We can't rely on that, but I'm sure this is where your honesty, where my little questions and my little doubts and what I want answered will be in the Leicester, Southampton. And I know rival fans will say, oh, but they're easy, they're crap. But again, we've done it against hard teams. We need to do it against the not so good teams, the lower teams. That's where we drop points. Guys, when teams were mid-blocking, counter-attacking us, and we looked exposed defensively in that situation, and we couldn't break them down. So I think that we will. Again, against Leicester and Southampton, because we're quite fortunate in that I think those are two of the worst teams in the league. But if we are to face a mid-table side, like your Fulhams, like even West Ham aren't, but typically a
type of team,
Palace, Palace, then we need Martin Odegaard, we need Mikel Merino, we need to get those.
Jesus Christ, I forgot Mikel Merino. Fuck it, I forgot he was signed him.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then even again, the one who gets cost a lot, Zinchenko, but Zinchenko is good for those games. He's not good for Liverpool away. He's not good for Aston Villa's away or Aston Villa's at home. But these games, this is where Zinchenko eats, because this is where he's able to get on the ball, play passes, do what he needs to do.
No, facts. Tariq, do you think Arsenal has started similar to last season? Good defensively, not many shots, but clinical with the ones you get. Big up Robert in the building.
In terms of the attack, Robert, big up to yourself, man. Yes, but I think we're better defensively than we were at the beginning of last season, and the reason being is we conceded 2 goals to Fulham, and they had 10 men, and they scored an equaliser. We look more vulnerable against Man United when Rashford scored in that one. Even Nottingham Forest was causing us problems, and that. So I think we're better defensively than we were at this point last season. Arsenal really got to grips with things defensively, which and then coincided with our attack after we lost to you. After we lost to UG, after Liverpool in that and in the FA Cup. And once that was because even when we played you in the Premier League, we were decent defensively, but you still had chances, and we didn't create anything really of much in that game. We had what, 1 or 2 chances, well, the set piece goal and what Martinelli should have, but not enough. So yeah, similar in attack, but better defensively. Would you agree with that, G? Or
Yes, just about. Because I definitely agree with the better defensively, because I do think that, and I think that Man City game really did show me, okay, yeah, these guys are really good defensively, and it's more about the setup and how you guys play.
yeah,
Attack wise, yeah, I think it's the same. I think it is kind of the same as last season. Just defense is probably just a little bit better. By the way, you've also added in Calafiori, Timber's also back, Partey in there as well. Like the team has gotten better in terms of quality and depth in those areas. Anyway, obviously, you've got Mika Marina to obviously come back. Erdegaard only just got injured the other day, so no, I think I'd agree with that. I'm just trying to think now in terms of your results. I think the only game where I looked at it and I was like, "Eesh," was the Brighton game. That was the only game where I was a little bit. It just made me sit down and write a note because I was like, okay, Brighton can do that to you though. This is the only thing with Brighton is that Brighton are a team that on their day, I can't lie, they rival top teams.
yeah.
They can rival the top teams in the league. So I don't want to disrespect Brighton by saying, oh, it's only Brighton, because Brighton are kind of a good team under the new manager as well. The way that they're playing, I think they're playing pretty decently. But that was the only game. But ultimately, you didn't lose the game, and you were down to 10 men as well. So it is one of those kind of things.
Getting the win at Tottenham, back to the back block of 5, getting the win at Tottenham and beating Villa is the one that made me go, okay, that's what we can get past the Brighton game. That's what. Okay,
yes. That, and this is what I'm saying. Like sometimes you just got to look at it in a block of 5. I know obviously take things obviously game by game. I get all of that, but sometimes if you just looked at it in a block of 5, trust me, fans, I think you guys would be happier because you will also just look at it and think, yes, we shouldn't have lost to Nottingham Forest as an example. Fair enough. Okay, we all agree with that. But guess what? We beat United, and most of us probably when we did the predictions, I don't feel like many of us had us beating United. I feel like most of us were saying it'll be a draw, it'll be this, it'll be that, which is fair because, as Tariq said, we didn't beat Man United last season. So why was that going to change this season? So things can balance themselves out, and I just think it's just an easier way. We'll go for one more question. Oh yeah, we spoke about that. Anyway, that was just about the games, man. So we'll wrap it up there. Big up, Aki. Endz, we did not get. Yeah, we don't. We do not get the tactical board for Liverpool game. I'm just letting you guys know. I didn't even know Endz was going to do all of that. Like I thought he was going to show it, but not in the way he did, which was, by the way, absolutely fantastic. So big up to Endz every single time. Love to Tariq, of course, for jumping in. Tariq, tell the people, what have you got coming up this week, bro?
Absolute pleasure, G. Thank you, guys. Make sure you do hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please do, because brother, what the quality of content that we've put out for you right there. This is one of the best pieces that I've actually jumped on. I'll be honest, and I'm saying that, and no gas, no hyperbole. Sorry, none of that. But
he's doing the hyperbolic stuff, guys. Like he's got one way than the other. No, I'm joking.
Seriously, this is and to get this for free, definitely, man. So subscribe to Tariq Talks. I'm an Arsenal fan, as you can tell, but I also do Premier League preview show content. That's what's regular. And I've got way more stuff coming out now. I've had a lot of work done behind the scenes with the channel in terms of overlays and whatnot, just working stuff out for the watch along so I can get a timer and that on there. So guys, watch alongs, Arsenal preview show, Arsenal review shows. I got a show coming back called The Arsenal Show. So I see a couple Arsenal fans in here. Come TBG, Highbury, anyone else that's watching. Sorry if I miss you out and you're an Arsenal fan. But please jump over, subscribe. I've got 4 more subscribers away to 800 now. 4 more.
No. Hold on. Yeah, so we're not ending the stream. So we're not ending the stream. We're not even ending the stream. Guys in this chat, come on, man. You guys, you always show me love. You show Endz love. You show Savage love. Jerry, everybody else. Tariq is one of our brothers as well. Guys, hit the subscribe button. The link is right there. I'm not ending the stream until I see that his thing has gone up by an extra 4 people. If it
Just
was
4.
more, okay, fair. It's only 4 people, guys. 4 of you in
Any.
here can easily subscribe. You know what? I don't. Let me see if I've even subscribed to my other channel.
Hey, big up, G.
I'll even put in a bit of work for you flipping losers in here. There we go, guys.
Oh,
make
appreciate
sure,
it. But I know a few of them subscribe already. I know a few of them do. So yeah, if you're watching afterwards as well, people, yeah, the big
of
goal,
course, none, of course.
The medium, I mean, the medium term goal is 1,000. Yeah,
of course.
But okay, the very short term, the very close one is 800. So I do appreciate you guys, and yeah, and guys in the chat again, I love it. I love seeing your opinions, and with my channel especially, that's what it's about, really, people. Like, I know I've chatted loads here and that, and but because we're chopping it up with G and that, but I try mainly when I do solo streams is just chat with you guys, man. So yeah, G, you've been on there quite a few times.
Bro, I need to go back on.
100%. He was on for a preview show for one of the Premier League ones. I think it was the first one of the weekend, first one of the season.
Yes, it was for the first one. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because remember we spoke about the Ipswich game, me, you, Endz, and Sav.
Oh yes, yeah, we did. Fucking hell. That seems like a lifetime ago. You know, Jesus Christ.
Bro, that's what I mean with how much football we've got. That Ipswich game, that first game of the season, my word.
Considering where we and you, okay, it's sorry to go back to this point. It goes back to the amount of football that these guys are playing. From when I'm saying that Ipswich game seems like it was so long ago, and we're now in this position here. And the reality is, has it even been that many games? Well, they've only played six matches this season, on top of all the international, so 8 games. Some of these players have probably played this season, guys. That's a lot of games they've played, man.
Hey, yo, G, my brother. Big up to yourself, and big up to yourself, guys, in the chat. We hit 800.
There we go, guys. We don't play a fucking around, man. We don't play around. I told you guys. Now the next goal is to get Tariq up to 1,000 subscribers. So of course, listen, look, guys, we're gonna have this show on. If Tariq is free, I will get Tariq on the show every single week if I possibly can. I'll chop it up between him, Endz, and Savage, because I really want to set this up to. Like I said, last year was on me. That was on me. I just had way too much going on, and I couldn't add this show in, but I'm going to put the time in. So yeah, every week we will discuss any game. I might even get you guys to even pick the games if you want. You know what I mean? You pick whatever game we should, kind of analyze from any team, any league. Keep it top 5, because I'm not trying to be looking at the Brazilian league at 3 a.m. So please keep it top 5 leagues so that we can obviously watch the game, and then we can just kind of chop it up in terms of tactically. And also, I think it's good as well. Like, as we saw there, like I said, like what Endz did there, like with the whole, with the tactics board and stuff, bro. I learned something. What Tariq is saying there about Arsenal, I learned something new about Arsenal, about the way that Arsenal want to play, about the way that they might set up in certain game states. Like, this is just for everybody to all learn at the same time. We're all students of the game, so let's all learn together, man. Do you know what I mean? Instead of trying to gatekeep, and I don't care about all of that. Like, let's just all learn. You guys already know me, Tariq, Savage, Endz, Jerry, or whoever. You guys never, ever going to hear us using words that even we don't know the fucking meaning to. Like the Twitter tacticos are doing these days. Like I said, there's going to be, bro, there's going to be, I think we were joking about this the other day in the chat, and we were saying, like, soon they're going to start saying, like, a false fullback. And I was like, what is a false fullback? Like
XD25, they call that now a false back.
Yeah, I said, oh, Jesus Christ. I said, yeah, the game's already gone, bro. Like, I was already like, at least the ones that we've got, I'm like, you can hit inverted winger. That makes sense because they're obviously inverted onto the pitch, so they're from out to in. We get all of that. A false 9 is someone who doesn't actually play. Like, you can kind of understand just from the name in itself. But when I'm like a false back, I'm like, all right, so you're not an inverted fullback, you're not a fullback, you're not a wing back, but you're a false fullback. So are you really there? Like, I don't know, like Mazzala and all that. Like, bro, we play too much Football Manager, bro. That's the problem.
Exactly. And what I always say with the tacticals is don't let them think that they're as smart as they make out.
Yes,
Because guess
yes,
what?
yes,
If the smartest people put things in a way that everybody can understand,
yes.
that
Facts,
is how you
facts.
really mark intelligence. Is can you put things in a way that everyone can, not necessarily simplifying. It's not dumbing it down. It's making it so that people of all can understand. And that's why
Facts.
when we use like phrases like a false nine, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like, let's not try and say things that you don't know what you're talking about. When I say 180 degrees, you know what that is. I'm not going to be
yeah.
saying on some like some dimension master manipulator, this, that, the other. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Like, bro, just let's put football it can be complicated, but it's also very simple at the same time.
Facts, facts. Honestly, bro. Like I said, I just feel like people. I think there's just too many tacticos out there, and they're all trying to outsmart each other with some of the
Yes.
like. Listen, I follow quite a lot of these tacticos because at times there are things that
Yeah,
when they are
man.
talking about, I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, actually, I didn't really know this, that, and the third. Fair enough. But guys, man, some of the things they do say, I know you guys want. I don't understand it, and I'm not even a coach or anything of that level
Yeah.
to even think. So I know that the everyday man or the everyday subscriber or the everyday follower isn't going to look at that and think, "Oh, I get that. Yeah, he means, bro, come on,
Do you know
guys.
what?
Like,
Do you know what as well,
let's stop."
G? The actual coaches, the ones who they're talking about, don't explain it like that to the players
Exactly,
because they
exactly,
can't. They need to put it in a way that the players can understand. Football, we know footballers are dumb already. They don't.
exactly,
So,
exactly, bro. So
but
why
don't.
would they want to be sitting there saying, "Yeah, so you're going to be a fullback, a fucking fullback"? Basically,
Mhm.
I'm the fullback, but you're not, bro. Just tell me in simple terms so I get what you want me to do. Otherwise, I can't carry out the instruction that you're asking me because you're throwing in words that are like, I don't need it to be like football simple. Keep it simple. Keep the words simple. I'll do the job simple. That is it.
Yeah, it's
That
true.
is it.
I've had my run-ins with one in particular. You guys might know him. No New Thing. You know that one.
Oh
The Arsenal fan.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And it's mainly because of when he does the greater than thou, when he flip flops on players,
Yeah.
greater than thou, when he flip flops on players. And I called him out on it, and he responded back to me. And I got, yeah, people were there lapping it up, doing all the nosh thing, you know it is
Of course
already.
they are. Yeah,
But
fucking of course.
then there
Because
were
they're
others
friends.
that were like, you know what, yeah, and stop acting like you're God, and
Yeah,
you're the Almighty, and when whatever you say is better than what anyone
yeah,
else. And if anyone has a disagreeing on opinion, then you don't understand. Like,
yeah,
little boy, don't do that. I
yeah.
never do that,
Don't.
guys, with football
Yeah,
opinions. Even if you don't disagree, even if you think it, even
yeah.
if you think it,
Facts.
because guys, we like just don't do it. It's just don't communicate with those type of people. That's all I say.
Nah, fact. Nah. Tariq said it there, man. Like those kind of people, I don't really fuck with. Like, don't try little bro people on something that doesn't need to be done in this kind of light. Like, it's really not that deep. But guys, I've got a new video on keeping it GTV. Literally just dropped it now. So when you guys are ready, when this stream ends, head on over there, click it. It's about the shits and gigs, lads. It's about the shits and
Mm,
gigs. Their apology or whatever you want to,
interesting.
whatever you want to call whatever it is that they did. I just had my take on that as well. I'll probably do a few more on them because I've seen obviously they're still doing videos. They're still kind of doing their thing, which they should do by the way. But yeah, I've got my opinion on them and Andrew Schultz as well. Obviously he was on his podcast, so yeah, guys, check that out whenever you can. Make sure you head on to Tariq Talks as well. Yeah, like I said, next week I'm gonna try and get something in place. Like I said, I'll see if the guys are free, and then we'll go from there, man. But Tariq, love for jumping on.
Big up to
And guys in
yourself.
the chat, love for being in here, and I will catch you guys. It should redirect you straight to my stream for tomorrow. I'll do it 10:30, Liverpool versus West Ham, Carabao Cup. So make sure you guys tune in, and we'll chop it up all about LFC, man. Peace.